To my client, this is your separation spell. I will send you the link to this video once your spell is complete. My love jam, spirit inside the love jam is talking. Make a spirit powder. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of date of birth, 1983. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of. Spirit is just speaking. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of date of birth, 1983. You are now the mind, the body, the spirit, and of date of birth.
She keep losing them.
You are not the mind, the body, the spirit of date of birth. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of date of birth. You are now the mind, the body. Power this coffee for speed. Speed up the spell. The separation work to separate date of birth with date of birth. You will separate. It will happen fast. Ashe. Get date of birth. I'll confuse you. May you be confused. May the relationship be a confusion. May you no longer want to be in that relationship. Ashe, ashe, ashe. I bring chaos to your relationship, and I bring destruction to your relationship. May you walk away. May you hate the powder of one of the targets. So the spirit powder will go inside the back. The spirit powder. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of date of birth, 1983. A little bit more. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of. So far, everything is going perfect. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of. And to my client, for your petition. Now, what I did with my petition was I had glued partial of the petition underneath the cap of here. It started deteriorating, so that is a very good sign. I also glue some inside this jar that I will be using here. You can see that it's still stuck here, torn all up. That is perfect. But to the client, you did add a part in your petition that I did remove because this is actually this would be considered a love spell. So the part that you wrote on your petition in regards to that the target would leave the other target and come to you, and you wrote your name in here, that would be considered a love spell. We are currently doing a separation spell. So yes, I have ripped this out of the petition. We'll cut this portion out of the petition because that's not what we're doing. So if you would like to proceed with a love spell after this spell is complete, feel free to contact me. We can set up another consult. We can touch bases and we can go from there. But again, this part of your petition, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You stated that one person will leave the other, they will separate, and they will come to you and they will marry you. That is a love spell. We are not doing that, so I will not be using that part of the petition. Spirit of date of birth, 1991. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of 1991. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of date of birth, 1991. Ashe. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit. And I'm making spirit powder because the client did not have any tag locks belonging to neither party. So I had to make spirit powder for each target. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of date of birth. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of date of birth, 1991. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of date of birth, 3. You are now the mind, the body, and the spirit of date of birth, 1991. To the relationship between date of birth, 1983, and date of birth, 3. Ashe. I stopped communication in your relationship. Your relationship, that will be no more. You will not communicate. You both will have closed mouths. Ashe. I bring speed to this working, and speed to the ending of your relationship. Date of birth, 3. Ashe. I call upon my spirits and I ask my spirits to assist me in this working and the separation spell to separate both targets. Ashe. Or anyone not be able to see and bring confusion, tons of confusion in your relationship. Ashe. To give me messages, images, and visions that I need to know in regards to the spell, as well any messages, images, visions, and divination that I need to know about both targets, date of birth 1991 and date of birth 1983. Ashe. Messages, images, visions, divination regarding both targets, as well as this work. Ashe. Which to my client I already addressed to you that the female target do have current work going on, and you also might want to discuss that as well in a future consultation, because they're to bring destruction and chaos to this relationship. There is other work going on, as I expressed to you before. I would know more messages once I light these candles, but again, if you want to discuss that as well, contact me. We can set something up to enhance all of the incantations that I have placed over this dial with these herbs. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Ashe. Oh, it's literally burning. So I have both of my targets here locked and loaded. I have their picture glued on the front of their dial, so I cannot turn it around. So what I'm going to do here in this jar, also this jar came off of one of my spirit's altars, Baran. This is one of his liquor bottles that I had outlined in aluminum foil. The aluminum foil is used to stop all communication via cellular devices, social media. Is to lock out all communication between these two targets. I also had glued this on top of, well, in front of the jar as well. No calling or texting my iPhone. Access denied. It is very important to use symbolism. And here, this is the female target. I'm also going to put them back to back. So she's going to go inside the jar. I'm going to put her this way. Matter of fact, no. I'm going to put her upside down like this. You gotta be careful not to show the front of her. So she is sitting inside the jar like so. I'm going to face him this way, backwards, and I'm going to put him inside like this. So let me put the camera down here because I do not want his face to be shown with this picture on the front of this dial. When I'm putting it like this, back to back in the opposite direction. He is sitting up. She is head down, legs up. Dog hair and cat hair. I had got this hair from My Animals actually, so I was going to put the dog hair in her, well in him, and put the cat hair in her, but I forgot, so I'm just going to put both of these inside the jar. This is symbolizing of them separating because cats and dogs do not get along. My dog just killed a cat today actually, so they don't get along, so I'm using their hair for symbolism of fight like cats and dogs. Alright, so you can see here, that's the cat hair, that's the dog hair. They would fight like cats and dogs. They would not get along. They would hate each other as much as a cat and a dog hate each other. Alright, so I don't need these right now. What I'm going to do next is I have 2 eggs. Both of these, each egg is written with the target's names on it. So I'm going to crack these eggs over here, inside here as well, to symbolize spoiling. We're going to spoil their relationship. Also have some lemons. Those lemons is going to go in here as well because what are we doing? We're souring their relationship.